I just want to say something. I try to help a lot of people. I try to be first at a lot of things. I'm constantly learning. And like part of like what we'll talk about here is what Connor and I are learning together and what we're literally teaching each other. But I'm constantly learning. They're constantly changing tricks and buttons and options. So this is my first live stream on LinkedIn. So we all have a first day, right? So everyone who's like afraid to start something, this is my day one on LinkedIn Live. I'm excited about that.
And you're rocking it. You know what's beautiful about LinkedIn Live? They're actually creating the subtitles for us, which is really cool. So
right, as we speak live.
As we speak live, it looks like they're creating the subtitles. And now there's going to be subtitles about us talking about subtitles. So
it's so meta.
We'll do. So let's kind of paint the picture here for everybody watching, and all of you very much appreciate it. This is my friend Vinny, for those of you watching in my network. And we're actually we just mutually met through a mastermind group that we've both invested into. I actually just created a video about that. You don't have to just seek mentorship. Comes in many different forms, and it is okay to invest into mentorship as well, because you get yourself into a committed community like Vinny and I are in. We're here massively pushing ourselves over the next 90 days to accomplish more in these next 90 days than we're going to accomplish in the next year. Probably we're going to accomplish more in the next 90 days than we would have done in the next 2 years.
Certainly the most I've accomplished for myself ever, to be honest. This is going to happen. This is day one of that.
I love it. So for all of you watching, Vinny and I, we've had a couple conversations. We're like, how can I kind of help facilitate? Vinny has such an interesting background. If you really do not know this guy, and I didn't know him before this group, but he's like the celebrity behind the celebrities. And I wanted to bring in, because I'm in the world of like B2B, business to business sales and marketing. Vinny's very much in the world of celebrity branding. And so there's definitely a marriage to be had between the two. No matter what you sell, what you promote, what it is that you do, celebrity branding, you can apply that into your business. So, for me personally, I'm actually curious for myself too, which is why I'm really excited for this, is to learn from you the secrets. How do we apply celebrity branding? And first off, what is celebrity branding? Like, define celebrity branding for everyone watching as a way to get started.
I'll start.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Before we do that, brag about yourself. Please share some of your background. Talk about your background and brag. I'm giving you permission to brag.
That. Thank you. Well, I've seen a bunch of people on Instagram Live, and I'm seeing them on Facebook show up. So I've been around in the media industry a bit, and some of the names I'm seeing I've known for 20 years, and some of them I've known for 5 years. I got my start at MTV in the late 90s, and I created what was known as the MTV News Department. The new MTV News Department was Suchin Pak and Gideon Yago, all the way up to Sway, which was awesome. And I also was the guy at MTV who worked under Rod Asa to create opportunities for talent, VJs, and hosts. So I got to cast to TRL and bring celebrities in to host, anything with a celebrity that came in. And our department then created Osbournes and Newlyweds and Punked. And I got to work closely with the cast of Laguna Beach and The Hills and The City, and created Eighth and Ocean, and left MTV in 2007 to work to start my own agency, and started working on Housewives of New Jersey and Millionaire Matchmaker, and helped, create and brand and bring talent to a lot of the media brands at Bravo, A&E, at Discovery, TLC. So I work now with some of those networks as a talent executive. So when they need a quick list of talent, I can come in and let them know who I'm sort of seeing at the top of the market. And I used to be a little bit more hands-on in casting, but I work with some awesome people now that I collaborate with on the casting perspective. But getting people cast, getting people their shows, I helped Jessica Simpson, tell her story to America, where when the world had a specific image on Jessica Simpson, and it took our Newlyweds reality show to really sort of like let the world in and know what people are like, So I've been using reality TV for a very long time to let people claim, their stories, to live in like the story that they want to be part of and projecting. And then technology happened. And now this is like the next iteration of it, right? Like now I'm like, now we don't have to pitch to the networks. Now I don't have to go live at 3:30 from Times Square. That's not the only time, to go live during the day. So, I'm having a blast right now connecting creative projects, podcasts that are evolving into academies or scripted and unscripted projects. And helping helping people put celebrity structure to their brand. So, to get to your question, celebrities have a team. Celebrities are celebrated. So for this purpose, I'd like to define celebrities as people we celebrate, not people we glorify and necessarily push up, but the people truly that we're called to celebrate. And some of those are personalities. Some of them are actors. Some of them are writers and programmers. So there's lots of room for celebrity. But coming up with a cohesive plan that multiple people in your team can start implementing, multiple experts like an agent, a publicist. They have teams for a very specific reason. So I'm excited to get in a little bit to like what I think some of those steps are. But just to take it back, I think a celebrity brand is a well-structured brand that has multiple touch points, public facing and internally, where you have experts who are really carving out and fortifying your path for you, so that you can be creating the content that's connecting with your audience. And that's what I think a celebrity brand is.
We're in such an unusual point, and interesting and uncharted point in history, where you're starting to see entrepreneurs become celebrity brands. Like entrepreneurship before was not in, like Steve Jobs, maybe there's one or two that kind of popped off and then became celebrities. But now you see these guys coming out of nowhere and creating these celebrity brands. What's your thought on that? What's your perspective on that? These guys that are in these very, unique industries. I know guys who are in telecom who are like the celebrities of telecom and everybody knows them. And so what's your thought on that? Celebrity, like the guys we celebrate versus now we're seeing entrepreneurs become those celebrity brands.
Yeah. Well, I think that talent has evolved from a fundamental creative talent, the acting, singing, sort of the visual element of what we think as talent. And I think that that's really extended down to our skill sets. And I think that's super cool that we can look at programmers, we can look at coders, we look at writers and people who traditionally are off-camera casting directors, choreographers, have their moment where you can really appreciate the level of skill and detail. And I think that content moves so fast. I think we all move so fast that when something looks beautiful and catches your eye and it's, a lot of work went into it. A lot of detail and a lot of strategy and probably years of experience. So I think it's cool. I think the challenging piece is how do you keep up with it? Like when someone shows up, when two people show up to your party, you know how to entertain. When 200 people suddenly show up to your party, are you prepared? Are you prepared to entertain? And I think that's like the preparation that a celebrity brand has. That's where there's marketing and distribution and publicity and some other steps that I think are really important to unilaterally not exploit, but expand the reach on these brands.
Yeah, 100%. So speak on that too. Like what are the steps differently, or are there nuanced steps to, okay, me, Connor, I want to become a celebrity brand in my space. What are the first steps? Like break down that roadmap for us.
Sure. Yeah. Credits are so something you want to take away right now, and something that's tremendously underutilized are credits. So like actors get credits for their performances, producers get credit for their work. So when I say credits, there are places like IMDb where you can go, and if you're a podcast host, if you're a host of a digital show or a television show, if you're an expert. By the way, if you're an expert on a morning show, make sure you're getting credit on that, because I, as a casting director or a network exec, it's the first place I look is IMDb to see all the experts who have experience, and I can sort of pull and create my list from that. But if you're not in the creative industry, citations are another way to answer that. So credits, citations, like making sure your name appears in the platforms that speak to your profession. Awards is a huge component to being celebrity. We know who the Emmy Award winning, Academy Award winning, Grammy Award winning. You got to pay to apply for those awards. It's not a free They don't come
Really?
finding you. Yeah, like the network applies, the label applies. Sometimes the artist or the actor applies, and there's a fee, and there's a membership, and there's a process to win awards. It's not like they're just handed out. So, Telly Awards, Webby Awards, those are some awards you can pay for to be part of it. Yahoo Best, like there are tons of free Google Best, Yahoo Best coaches, Yahoo Best real estate agents. Like those are awards that again give us reason to celebrate and be able to share your win with our friend and say, hey, look, not only did we say I told you so about Connor, but look at the award he win. So I told you, like, this dude's hot. I told you he was hot before. Now his award feels like my award, and now we're in it together. And I think that's part of the celebrity relationship.
How do you
Yeah.
go from zero to accreditation? Like, I'm a nobody. Nobody knows me. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to learn how to become a celebrity and work my brand like a celebrity. Where do I start to get that credibility?
I think the credibility comes from action. So the first thing I would think of doing is what do you want to do that you don't need anyone else's help for? What's a thought or a place where you want to go that you can create a place, something that you can create that is going to define or impress your audience or give them an opportunity to interact with you. I wouldn't turn to other people, you know, um, for that. I think that you have to stand out and show up before people can start and give people an opportunity to get to know you before they can start celebrating
Mm,
you. But I think you have to do it consistently. Like the like we love our actors in TV shows because we see them every single week. We love some of the biggest speakers we're listening to right now on Clubhouse are because we're in their rooms every single day at the same time or every single week at the same time. So programmatically having a structured approach to showing up, making sure that you're not doing something just once and done, but that you're giving them the ability, you're giving your audience the ability to look forward to, when you come on next. I think that's a great way to start. There are awards you can be winning that you don't even need content for. You can be winning awards for the stackies are a good, a set of awards. If you just have a good technical stack of how to implement something, there's no content needed to win those awards. There's management awards, there's agency awards where you don't need, and some of them are I'll be honest, low hanging fruit. They're sort of, it's an SEO play, but it's all about getting your name on the list. You want a celebrity brand. You need to have your name on the list. And I think that even goes back to the idea of the red carpet. Like, where are you showing up? Where, who's expecting your arrival?
mm.
Do you have a show on Clubhouse? Are you coming back and doing live Instagrams, or is LinkedIn live once a week something I can be doing? And here's the comparison to a red carpet versus a residency. Like when you got a residency, when you're showing up and there's structure around your presence, and that's when we're really, really celebrating. So show up before you can get that residency. Also, two more things: distribution, tremendously important. You make a film and no one sees it. What good was that? That project if no one really gets to see it. It's happening
Right.
a lot. Festivals are a great way for independent films to be seen, but there's a whole new way that media is being amplified now. There's a whole new way that content is being turned into media, that media is being sold to advertisers and OTT networks, digital networks, traditional cable networks. But I'll tell you what, the answer, right? After you find a good project, even if it's not a good project, that's okay if it's not a good project. I'll be blunt, because more people are going to see the content you make around that project. Like more people are going to see the promo about your podcast than are going to see are going to hear your podcast.
Mm.
More people will see your late night, appearance, with Jimmy before they're going to go see your movie. So all that promo content you make, that really is the impressive amount of content where you can change opinion of your audience and really show them what you're about, as opposed to what that project is about, and sort of letting them in. So
Yeah.
from
What?
awards to amplification, I think are I think there's like 6 things I just mentioned that I can drop it in afterwards and just sort of lay out. But awards, I think getting credits, I think being discovered, showing up, like what's your red carpet moment, and then distribution and amplification. And not to say you need to have all of those to be a celebrity brand, but there are different sizes celebrity brands. So you
Yeah.
pick what size celebrity brand you would like to be. and then we can work from there.
You could be a micro celebrity brand. And
Yeah.
by the way, folks that are listening right now, Vinny's dropping bombs. Like if you're getting value of this, drop some of those hearts on Instagram. I see you on there. Please share this out on Facebook. Please share this out on LinkedIn. I guarantee there's somebody else in your network who would watch this that would get some monster value from these insights. This is stuff that like has been kind of behind the scenes. That's why we're talking about these secrets. Is that a lot of this is just kind of industry secrets that Vinny, a real practitioner, has access and practitionership to. And if you have any questions on here as well that you guys want to ask while we're here, shoot, do it, fire away. We could, it's not about just me asking questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to bring them in. So with that, what do you think are some of the biggest, number one, roadblocks to celebrity branding and the biggest mistakes that people make when they start, branding themselves?
Being a different version of someone who's out there already, like starting off as a comparative, I was lucky to work on a lot of original development. I was lucky enough to work in original development or original casting on many projects, which is different than in production. So the OG people that I cast in season 1, when it's time to do the OG seasons, they come back. And when it's time to do the all-star seasons, they come back. So if I have an option to do the real OG or a version, a different version of an OG. And also that's one point of differentiation. So while it's important to understand who your competitors are, and while it's important to understand who also is like-minded in your space, I'll say it this way. You don't get famous by moving into the Kardashians' neighborhood, right? Like that's not going to make you famous. So being on the platforms that they're on, having the type of media that you're seeing other people, that's not going to get you, into the show, by the way. And I've worked with lots of friends, the Gas Nose and Lala. And I can think of a lot of people who, Larsa Pippen, who worked closely with that family, made it onto the show, but it's a real relationship. They weren't moving someplace and hoping to. So I hear this. I'm a part of some of the housewife conversations, and I get reached out to, and I'm quick to sort of point people in the right direction.
Hey, can you get me a feature in as if I'm a passive friend?
Hey, should I move to the OC if it's going to help me get cast on the Real Housewives of OC? Or hey, what part of New Jersey should I live in if I want to be like there's real proximity, and there are answers to that, by the way. But if you're not showing up, if that's the only way you're showing up, I mean, that's not a way to build friendship. You need friendship. It's about people. It's about friendships. Right. So, and it really is. I, as an executive at MTV in the late 90s and early 2000s, went to bat for a lot of talent that got much bigger, after, working with us, where maybe the network didn't think they had it, or like you have to go to bat for these people. You go to bat for someone you celebrate. You go to bat for someone who also celebrates you. I pushed hard for certain hosts and shows to get greenlit, or I even supported them just based on the fact that they supported me. These are people who fought.
People bank on that too much of, okay, well, I'm going to sit and be talented and wait, and then I'm going to get picked up by a show, instead of creating the platform around themselves to begin with, right? Like I wanted to be I want to be featured on more stages and be a speaker. I need to create stages to feature other people, right? I want to be interviewed on more podcasts. I need to start a podcast. I need to create that platform around myself. And you said something earlier as well that was really interesting that I wanted to make sure I didn't brush past, was some of the top, the actual celebrities, right? Think of the number one celebrity is a famous person. And then you look at the history of their career and you realize, wow, they were on that commercial, or they were in that show, or they were in that show, a cameo or an appearance in that. And they did that movie. Oh my God, that movie was fucking terrible. And it kind of over time, they consistently showed up and honed their craft. They didn't just sit around and wait for the big blockbuster hit movie that that, you know, how long did it take Leonardo DiCaprio to get, what's the award? I'm totally out of this world, but
the Academy.
the Academy. Dude
Yeah.
should have gotten it 20 years ago, and it took him as long as it did. But if you look back at his career, kept showing up, didn't just rely on other people's platforms. You know, what you're speaking to applies across all boards, from entrepreneurship to being a celebrity.
And he's got to show up and he's got to give. Like, he can't, like, being there isn't enough. He's got to show up and do the Leo thing, you know, like do the Leonardo DiCaprio thing, you know, the thing you do. It's still not like it's still not a freebie. And I think that again, celebrities or people who, you know, are putting this level of intent into what they're doing, this craft that what they're doing. And then, like what you mentioned, need being able to create a podcast, being able to go live. You know, now I certainly remember when TRL was literally the only way to go live in the entire like universe as like a 20-something-year-old. So this is a cool opportunity. And this is happening in audio. This is happening in print. Like this idea of being able to live and connect, we're only seeing it become more and more innovative. Like the social piece isn't going away because we crave sharing. We crave discovery. By the way, how many people think they found Michael Bublé? By the way, my mom swears she discovered Michael Bublé because she watched the Christmas special. But like, I bring that up because like she did in my circles, she did. And she's the one who told all of us to watch him. And like now every time. So you know, I think we all want to be casting directors. We all want to be stars. We all want to be, I mean, some of us, you know, feel called to, you know, putting ourselves on the line to do that. But otherwise, we're inherently a helpful group of people when we think that what you're doing can help all of us or us individually as well.
So believe it or not,
tell me.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, well, I was just going to say that's where, as a celebrity brand, I think knowing your audience is really important, because when you know your audience, you're able to now. So if we want to talk about what's different, what's really fundamentally changed in media, distribution has changed in media. I can't think of anything that's changed more, from the sizes of screens to the amount of screens. Nothing has changed more than distribution. And it's impacted development. It's impacted how series get bought, how series get created, how series get sold. And if you know your audience, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of micro platforms that are looking for more and more market space, that are looking for your content. So one of the things I'm doing in my celebrity branded media content is I'm creating micro segments within it. So I want 3 1.5-minute segments and a 5-minute segment, because I know I can pull that 1.5 minutes out. And this might go to a news network, and this might go to an only good news network, and this might be great for entertainment. But I'm strategically thinking about distribution, and I'm making content that I know there's a purpose for.
And the barrier to entry for the average human being now is like, you know, damn near zero.
Yeah. Which is, it's scary in a lot of ways, because there's almost no excuse not to show up. And here I am. And I'm like, I have the rights to do LinkedIn Live. And like, Connor, I appreciate you pushing me to do this, but like, I didn't want to do LinkedIn Live. That's scary. Like, everyone I work with is on LinkedIn Live. By the way, I'm really appreciative of everyone who watched this.
And look at how many lives you've obviously impacted. I mean, just in the live, if you guys are watching this after the fact, just drop in your comments, and people obviously love you. I mean, look at all the love you're getting on this. And you have such a powerful message. You kind of owe it to everybody to show up here, man, and keep doing these and get your information out there, because it's that pertinent.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I agree with you, by the way. I do feel like I owe it. So I was lucky at MTV to bring in a lot of talent, especially talent that would be considered marginalized voices. And I've had many conversations with many of those talent who are executive producers now, and they're creating their own shows, about the responsibility they have now that they're in to be creating their own shows, to be launching their own production companies, and to creating more opportunity. My biggest successes have been them, and hopefully I get to be one of their biggest successes. And there's this reciprocity between talent and developer that I'm tapping into. That's exciting. And whether you watched my shows growing up, and I get to work with you now, that's a return on an investment. But certainly the celebrity brands I helped elevate, for them, to trust me still and to let me continue to craft, the direction they're going in. It's an awesome skill set to have. It's a lot of people I work with. I'm terrified. I don't want to disrupt anything. So
you've changed a lot of lives. Listen, without you, there's probably so many folks who would have kind of gone through certain stages in their career, stagnated, fell off, and ended up a waitress in a bar somewhere. And you're here looking at the business dynamic of it, of like, look, you have this brand, you need to expand out significantly what you're doing. And there's so many different ways to create impact, profit, and income, around what it is that you're doing. Just not getting your fees or whatever it's called for showing up on TV, but so much more outside of that. Listen, we've been going on for, believe it or not, almost 30 minutes now. It's felt like we've been here for like 2 minutes. But just in summary, is there anything else that would apply as a secret in this area, or some last takeaways? And then I think you need to share with folks what you got going on in the background. Give them a little bit of tease, a little bit of taste of what you got going on, and like how they can start getting more engaged and taking action with you.
Yeah. I think great question. I think the last piece of big takeaway I would say is, so I would write a paper, and I would write a report, and I would start with the title, and I still do. And the reason I bring that up, and I would recommend that you do as well, start with the title. And the title doesn't mean it needs to be a paper. It doesn't mean it needs to be a podcast or a TV show. Just stay true to the idea. And there's so many different firsts that this can be. There are so many podcasts that I've turned into academies that I'm elevating into TV shows. There are so many PDFs that I've elevated into a product that we've turned into a book. There are so many different ways to continue to evolve these ideas. Just get it on paper. Put it all on paper and get it started. Like, create space for it. And I mean that, like, for me, it's Post-it notes. I'm physically creating a space for an idea. A, because I only have a certain amount of capacity, but B, when this idea is done, it's so nice to crumble that up and say, or when it's no longer a good idea and I'm like, out the way. But I like to start with a title, because to me,
the laugh that came with that,
right? Get that cackle. But I like to start with a title because, like, then it's crystal clear what it's about. I'm doing it right now with someone I met on Clubhouse. It's crystal clear what the show is about. There's just might be a couple of different ways that it plays depending on the platform that it goes to. And to answer your second part of the question is, I've been really trying to figure out how to work with people. I feel like I can really, I know in castings, I help hundreds of people get the gig because I'm also the person who's there with the network, and I know how to get the approvals. But I've learned in this process, there are these little pieces that I can offer up that you could really benefit from. And this is what creates a celebrity brand, where you don't need to be cast for something to be receiving these services, where doctoring up your profile, showing you which pieces are searchable, showing you how the information you're putting out there on your social media is impacting how Google sees you. I could literally change, like, the images on your Google search. I could literally change I can push pictures down. Like, there's work that I can do that I only get to do with celebrities. So I'm excited to get to launch my first, maybe you call it, you've heard of intensive, maybe it's a vintensive, where I can really help you create the celebrity brand, like a 90-minute sit down. Let's look at what you're doing. Let me give you some input on some structure. I'm going to bring up distribution ideas. I'm going to give you concepts that, I know some of the distributors that I'm working for are looking for. And let's see how we can't turn your brand into a celebrity brand. And whether you are a celebrity and are ready to level up, unless you're ready for that, or you want a new project. Sometimes I got to think, as horizontal as much as we try to build, our clout, other projects, so I'm super excited to be able to offer that up. And if anyone's interested in that, please just DM me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, and I'll share a little bit more about that. But I think it's a 90-minute call, and literally we'll sit down and do a swoop through your brand, and you will definitely leave changed. I'm collaborative. I got to have you in my space to be able to give you what I got. So Connor, you're awesome for getting this out of me, by the way.
Pick up on this a bit of what he's saying here too. Like Vinny is a limited resource right now. And so what he's talking about, if this is something that calls to you and you're ready, I mean, for what people probably invest to do that with you is millions and millions, probably tens of millions of dollars worth of value that you could obtain. So send him a DM, like get on it before other people take up the space on his calendar. Just shoot, get to know Vinny. You can obviously see all the love that's here. And again, everyone that's watching this, please, I guarantee you there's somebody in your network who could find this information valuable in the industry secrets that have been kind of behind the curtain, so to say, over the years. Like I'm over here siphoning it out of Vinny a bit, and hopefully we'll continue to do some of these. I think, you know, maybe a part two. We'll do a part two of this sometime in the coming week or so.
Yeah, we'll have updates because I know for a fact people are reaching out to me because they already are. So I will have proof. There will be video proof and photo proof of what we're talking about in the next time we connect, by the way.
Before we wrap up, let me just make sure we didn't miss any potential questions here. But man, love your look.
I see Joshua asked for a celebrity brand when you're building. How do you know when you made it? And I will say this. The answer to that question is because I've asked that question. So the answer is when someone's willing to pay for it. I don't know if that's like the best answer, but when someone's willing to buy it, and as we know, we don't have to have the t-shirt made to be able to start selling the t-shirt. I actually saw Josh McBride just joined me on Instagram Live, Joshy McBee, and he's an amazing series, Simplified with Josh McBride, that we took a logo and put it on Redbubble, and we can merch it out. And like, you know, the brand came before the merch, but the people started wanting, you know, the merch piece. So it's exciting to be able to, when someone's ready to buy it, when they're ready to put money into it, I think it's like when you know you've made it. And I would just be careful about, you know, where you get that money from, like what audience that's where knowing your audience is important. That could be the beginning of the end or the beginning of a great story. Connor, I had one question here that I saw come in. What is in your background? What's your core competency?
A bit of my background. You know, I'm not a celebrity, by the way, guys. I know it's easy. You look at this guy.
It's all
like,
about the size of audience. Yes, you are. It's all about the size of audience.
Is that Post Malone, but like without tattoos? I get that a lot. But so I come from an entrepreneur business background. You know, like I do what Vinny does, but in the B2B world, in the non-sexy industries, I help the CEOs in manufacturing and logistics, biotech, SaaS, all those industries that a lot of people, I help turn them into micro celebrities in a way, in what it is that they do, and help them to reach their audience. So, you know, I've been an entrepreneur since 7, studied successful people all my life. You know, I've grown 8-figure businesses before at the age of 22. I've done, you know, millions of dollars in sales. I've helped other people, which is my favorite part, do, you know, high 8 figures in sales and in their marketing careers or sales career and in their business. And I really just like helping to amplify voices like Vinny. Like that's my absolute favorite thing to do in the world, is to help highlight other people. And, you know, I'm just here to kind of be a facilitator. So.
Oh, dude, you are awesome. I'm so appreciative that you're in my life.
Back at you. It's so funny because we did like our first time we like actually met one-on-one. It's like, okay, this guy's in this space, I'm in this, like, where's the
like break? 2 dudes get thrown in a room. They're like, figure it out. And we're like, I don't know.
I know, right? But it works. And that's the beauty of life. And that's the thing too, is like, if people don't know you, they can't flow to you. And so for you, you have a special message, you have a special talent. Everybody watching this, go put that out there. You know, get after it, get consistent with it, quit giving a shit what other people think. Yeah. There's so many things we could have overthought about doing this live stream, and we just came in here really to give you guys value. So if you got that, please, again, make sure you share this, and let's wrap this baby up, man. We got some business to attend to and some folks to help out.
Oof, Connor, you're good, man. I need you in my life. I saw here Joshua. I saw on here Brandon T. Adams. I mean, I saw a lot of people from our group. popping in here. The energy that I'm getting from this mastermind, from Brandon T. Adams' mastermind, is awesome. I do share with my audience that I'm in masterminds and strategies and sessions, and I'm getting my information from someplace. And Connor is definitely one of those sources. So I'm excited to share that with you. And Connor, thanks for getting this out of me. You've been listening to I Have a Podcast with Vinny Potestivo. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, please find us at ihaveapodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you next week.